Hey everyone, before we start, don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. The laughter that night rolled across the ballroom like thunder, mixing with the soft hum of conversation, the clinking of glasses, and the smooth rhythm of a jazz tune drifting from the corner stage. I held my wine, forcing a laugh of the others, when I saw him, Daniel. He stood near the entrance, half hidden in shadow, his eyes fixed on me. For a moment, I thought I was imagining things. He wasn't supposed to be there. It was the company's annual gala, for employees and pre-approved guests only. I had told him that. Yet there he was, shoulders squared, gaze unwavering. And then it hit me. He had seen Greg's hand resting on the small of my back, a gesture I had convinced myself was innocent, professional, harmless. But Daniel knew better. I saw the shift in his face, the jaw tightening, the deliberate rise and fall of his chest as he fought to keep control. He didn't yell. He didn't create a scene. He turned quietly and walked out. That silent exit cut deeper than any confrontation ever could. Just an hour earlier, the evening had been perfect. Greg was his usual charming self, commanding attention with wit and charisma. I had worked under him for 3 years, my mentor, my supporter, and lately, something far more complicated. It hadn't started as an affair. It began with long hours, shared dinners, laughter that lingered too long. I told myself it meant nothing. Daniel had been distant, buried in construction work, coming home late, exhausted, barely talking. Somewhere along the line, I started confusing Greg's attention for warmth. But none of that mattered the instant I saw Daniel leave. Driving home that night, I called him over and over. No answer. I left the party early, ignoring the puzzled looks of my co-workers. By the time I arrived, his truck was gone. The house felt hollow. His shoes were missing from the hallway. The framed wedding photo, petals raining down on us, was gone. On the bed lay a single folded note. Don't call me. That was it. No accusations, no anger, just finality. The kind that cuts through excuses and denial in one clean stroke. I sank to the floor and cried until my throat burned. 3 days passed. No word. I reached out to his sister, his best friend, even his site manager. All said the same. He was quiet, but he was hurting. The silence was unbearable. His absence haunted every corner of the house. His coffee mug still by the sink, his scent slowly fading from the rooms. Every morning, I woke hoping he'd return, that the door would swing open and he'd walk in. But he never did. I finally understood Daniel. He wasn't the type to explode when betrayed. He was the kind who simply left and never looked back. On the 4th day, Greg appeared at my door, hands shoved in his pockets, looking uneasy. I just wanted to check on you, he said softly. Are you okay? I stared at him, feeling how wrong everything had become. His presence, once comforting, now made my skin crawl. He saw us, I said quietly. Greg sighed, rubbing his face. Look, Emma, it's not a big deal. He'll cool off. I almost laughed. You don't know him. He's not coming back. When Greg reached for my hand, I pulled away. The warmth I once felt had turned to disgust. Please leave, I said. You've done enough. 2 weeks later, still nothing from Daniel. Then his sister called. He's at a motel by the lake, she said cautiously. He doesn't want to see anyone. He just says, you're broken. That word shattered me. That night, I drove to the lake. His truck was parked outside one of the cabins. I stood there for a long time before knocking. When he opened the door, I barely recognized him, unshaven, red-eyed, drained. But it wasn't anger that scared me. It was emptiness. What are you doing here? His voice was low, rough. I needed to see you, I said. Please, just listen. Nothing happened with Greg. It was just... He gave a bitter laugh. Don't. I've seen enough. Daniel, I made a mistake, I said through tears. I was lonely. His voice sharpened. So you let another man put his hands on you in front of everyone? It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that, he said, eyes glistening with quiet pain. I loved you, Emma. I tried. I worked myself to the bone to give us something better. And you, his voice broke. You made me the fool. I whispered, "Tell me how to fix this." "You can't," he said, and closed the door. Time blurred after that. He filed for divorce. I didn't resist. My calls went unanswered, my letters ignored. Greg reached out again, but I couldn't bear to speak to him. I left my job, sold a house, and moved into a small apartment. Every night, I replayed the moment, his eyes meeting mine across the ballroom, full of heartbreak and disbelief. 6 months later, I saw him at a grocery store. He looked healthier, stronger, his beard neat, his smile gentle. Beside him was a woman. She laughed at something he said, her hand brushing his arm. Our eyes met. No hate, no bitterness, just peace. He gave me a small nod and walked away, his hand resting on her back the way Greg's once had on mine. Only this time, it wasn't empty. It was real. That's when I knew it was truly over. A year has passed. People say time heals. Maybe it doesn't heal fully, but it dulls the pain enough to function. Piece by piece, I started rebuilding. Therapy, a small job, a quieter life. I tell myself I've learned. But some wounds don't close. They just fade into silence. Sometimes I drive by that old ballroom. I can almost hear the laughter, see the shimmering lights, feel the moment everything collapsed. I see Daniel walking away, his quiet exit cutting through the noise. That silence still follows me. A few months ago, an envelope arrived. No return address. Inside was our missing wedding photo. On the back, in Daniel's handwriting, 3 simple words. I did love you. I sat holding it for hours, realizing real love doesn't scream, it doesn't demand, it doesn't beg. It simply exists, steady, quiet, deep, and when it leaves, it doesn't slam the door. It just walks away softly, out of a room full of laughter, never to return.